Welcome to 55 random facts that will blow your mind. Despite its shell-like appearance, the Argonaut is not a nautilus, but a unique type of octopus. The delicate, papery structure it creates is not a true shell, but rather an egg case secreted by the female for protection and buoyancy. Chip cards have been around for a while. While the idea goes back to the 80s, the EMV technology we use today really took off in the late 90s. The EMV standard is named after its developers, Europay, MasterCard, and Visa. Growing an avocado from its pit, you'll get an avocado tree, sure, but the fruit might be a surprise. Each seed is genetically unique. If you want the exact same avocado as the one you ate, you'll need to graft a branch from that tree. Arthur Fischer, a German inventor, changed the way we hang things on walls forever. His 1958 invention, the plastic wall plug, or Fischer dowel, made it easy to securely fasten objects. Mr. Stalin was named Times Person of the Year twice, or in better way, Man of the Year as it was called at the time. Magellan's epic voyage started with 270 men and 5 ships, but only one ship and 18 to 22 survivors limped home after 3 grueling years. Believe it or not, trees and plants are built mostly from thin air. They pull carbon from CO2, create 95% of their mass, with only a tiny bit coming from the soil. The pronghorn is the world's second fastest land mammal, built for long distance running across the plains. It can run at a top speed of 88.5 kilometers per hour or 55 miles per hour, slower than the cheetah, but it can sustain top speeds much longer than the other. In 2000, Slovenian adventurer Davo Karnikar cemented his place in history by skiing down from the top of Mount Everest, a first. His epic descent took 4 hours and 40 minutes. The Amazon rainforest is one of Earth's most powerful water engines. Its trees release 20 billion tons of water vapor into the atmosphere daily through transpiration, creating vital rain systems that sustain life across South America. Saturn's rings are mind-blowingly thin, just 100 meters thick on average, even though they are incredibly wide. Madrid's Kilómetro Cero plaque in Spain marks the spot from which all roads and distances across the country are measured. It's true, redheads have fewer hairs, around 90,000 compared to a blonde's 140,000, but each strand is thicker, giving them a uniquely voluminous look. A dodecahedron is a three-dimensional shape that is part of the family of Platonic solids. It has 12 faces, each of which is a regular pentagon. In addition to its 12 faces, it also has 20 vertices and 30 edges. Those delicious Swiss cheeses like Gruyere and Emmentaler, along with other aged cheeses like Parmesan and Gouda, are practically lactose-free. The long aging process gives bacteria plenty of time to break down the lactose. Denmark's Dannebrog isn't just a flag, it's a piece of history. Dating back to 1219, it's the oldest national flag still flying today. Jupiter's year is almost 12 Earth years long. It takes that giant planet nearly a dozen of our years to circle the sun. 1,089 times 9 equals 9,801, a pair of palindromic numbers. Cool, right? The pygmy marmoset is unbelievably tiny. The world's smallest monkey weighs only about 100 grams. That's like holding a small apple. Poaching is driving a tuskless trend in African elephants. Because tusked elephants are targeted, tuskless ones are more likely to survive and pass on their genes. It's a grim example of evolution in action. Blue whale babies can gain up to 250 pounds or 113 kilograms a day, which is just mind-blowing growth. Kangaroos can have 3 joeys at once, a tiny one suckling, a bigger one in the pouch, and even a fertilized egg waiting its turn, held in a state of diapause or in a suspended development. Our closest invertebrate relatives, sea squirts or tunicates, can make cellulose. That's a plant-like trick that's pretty unique in the animal kingdom. Clownfish are sequential hermaphrodites, or it even has another fancy name called protandrous hermaphroditism. If the female dies, the dominant male becomes female. This adaptation helps ensure the survival of the group, as there will always be a breeding pair as long as there are at least 2 fish. It's particularly important since clownfish live in small groups associated with specific sea anemones, and they rarely travel between anemones, so finding a new mate from outside the group would be difficult. The James Webb Space Telescope is incredibly sensitive, capable of detecting something as dim as the heat signature of a 5-watt bulb located on the moon when viewed from Earth. A hydrogen bomb is way hotter than the sun's core. While the sun burns at a scorching 15 million degrees Celsius, a hydrogen bomb detonation can reach a mind-boggling 100 million degrees Celsius. Also, the plasma used to slice through steel is actually hotter than the surface of the sun. Trinidad's Pitch Lake is a truly unique geological formation, the world's largest natural deposit of asphalt. This remarkable lake has been a source of asphalt for centuries, used by both indigenous people and modern industry for various purposes, including road construction. Albedo is a measure of how much light or radiation is reflected by a surface. It's usually expressed as a value between 0 and 1, where 0 means no reflection, complete absorption, and 1 means perfect reflection, no absorption. For example, snow has a high albedo because it reflects most of the sunlight, while a dark asphalt road has a low albedo because it absorbs much of the sunlight. Earth's albedo is about 0.3, while the moon's is only 0.1. This means Earth reflects 3 times more sunlight than the moon. Honeymoon really does have something to do with honey. Back in the day, newlyweds would drink mead for a whole month after their wedding, hoping for a sweet and happy start to their marriage. Some also say that it comes from the idea that the first month or moon of a marriage was the sweetest. To make a gallon of cider, you'll likely need around 36 apples, give or take, depending on their size and how juicy they are. The U.S. cultivates a stunning array of over 2,500 apple types, though only about 100 dominate the market. The spacesuit design used for the first spacewalks in 1983 stayed in use, with upgrades for over 30 years. Don't let Earth's size fool you. It's a heavyweight. Our planet's mass is about 5.7 times greater than the combined mass of the Moon, Mars, Pluto, and Mercury. A bee's life lasts only about 40 days. In that short time, it pollinates around 150,000 flowers and produces less than a teaspoon of honey. For us, it's just a teaspoon. But for the bee, it's the work of an entire lifetime. Finland's coffee obsession is real. They drink way more coffee than Italy, roughly twice as much per person each year. Earthworms don't have conventional urinary systems like many other animals. Instead, they excrete their nitrogenous waste equivalent to urine through their skin using specialized cells called nephridia. These nephridia are spread throughout their body segments and filter waste from their body fluid, which then passes through their skin. This system is actually quite efficient and works well with their moist environment. The waste helps keep their skin moist, which is essential since earthworms need to stay damp to breathe through their skin as well. The grandfather paradox is one of time travel's most famous conundrums. If you go back in time and stop your grandparents from meeting, you'd never be born. So how could you have gone back in the first place? It's a real head-scratcher. It's funny but true. Your cheap Casio probably tells time better than a fancy Rolex. Those mechanical Rolexes are vulnerable to temperature, magnetism, and winding issues, while quartz watches are super accurate thanks to their vibrating crystal. Nearly all cacti are native to the Americas, especially Mexico, a hotspot for these unique plants. Over 95% of all cactus species originated there. Adermatoglyphia is a rare genetic disorder that means no fingerprints. A mutation in the SMARCAD1 gene prevents the development of those unique ridges on our fingers, palms, and soles, leaving them smooth. Caterpillars have 6 legs, just like all insects. The seeming appearance of other legs are actually protrusions from the caterpillar's abdomen called prolegs. They can even be equipped with tiny hooks, serve as gripping tools, aiding in movement and feeding, but they are not true jointed legs. Caffeine serves as a natural bug repellent for coffee plants. Interestingly, coffee, cacao, and tea plants all develop this caffeine defense on their own. Fun fact, plastic surgery isn't about plastic materials at all. It's named after the Greek word for shaping or molding, and it predates plastic invention by decades. The Philippines is a vast archipelago comprised of approximately 7,641 islands, a number that excludes countless smaller landforms, such as sandbars, that are subject to tidal changes. Why spray perfume on your wrists and neck? These spots radiate heat from blood vessels close to the skin, helping the scent last longer. Hedgehogs have a normally rapid heartbeat of around 250 beats per minute. However, when they enter hibernation to survive the winter, their bodies undergo a dramatic transformation. Their body temperature plummets by 20% or more, and their heart rate slows to an astonishingly low 20 beats per minute, sometimes making them appear lifeless. Tetsuya Fujita, a pioneering meteorologist, developed the Fujita scale, or F scale, a groundbreaking system for classifying tornado intensity based on the damage they inflict. This scale revolutionized our understanding of these powerful storms and provided a consistent way to categorize them. Comets are surprisingly dark. They only reflect about 4% of the sunlight that hits them. This is why they can be hard to spot until they get close to the sun and start to sublimate, creating a coma and tail. That freshly cut grass smell? It's not just a summer scent. It's a chemical SOS from the grass, a mix of signals that can warn other plants, fight off microbes, and yes, sometimes even attract predators to the herbivores munching on them. It's a curious fact that egg yolk color is often a matter of consumer preference rather than actual taste difference. Farmers can manipulate yolk color by adjusting chicken feed, catering to regional beliefs that darker orange or lighter yellow yolks indicate superior quality. However, despite these visual differences, the taste remains largely the same. Powered flight, a complex and energetically demanding adaptation, has independently evolved 4 times throughout evolutionary history, in insects, pterosaurs, birds, and bats. Each of these groups has evolved unique anatomical features to achieve flight, showcasing the power of convergent evolution. The accumulation of barnacles on ship hulls, known as biofouling, poses a major challenge for maritime operations. The U.S. Navy estimates that heavy barnacle growth can increase a ship's weight and drag by as much as 60%, resulting in a substantial increase in fuel consumption, potentially reaching 40% or more, with significant economic and environmental consequences. Our sense of smell has a remarkable link to our memories and emotions due to the brain's anatomy. The olfactory bulb, responsible for processing smells, is located in close proximity to the amygdala and hippocampus, brain regions deeply involved in emotion and memory. This direct connection explains why certain scents can evoke powerful and often nostalgic memories. Did you learn something new today? I hope so. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And if you want to support the channel, check out the links in the description below. See you next time.